Hello, I'm Emma of Granola Gear, and I'm so excited to be back again with you chatting about what I have been knitting on lately. Anyone who's been watching me for a little while knows that I usually do an every other week podcast with something else in between. But I recently started a new job, and it's been kind of a lot to come up with an additional thing every other week. I just don't have enough time for it. So I decided for now, because the type of knits I've started working on are different, and I feel like I have more continuous progress updates. I'm going to switch to doing every week of a little podcast. And then if I have a week where I don't feel like I did very much, then maybe I'll do something else like chat and knit or whatever. But I just wanted to get that out of the way first. I'm filming luckily while it's still light out. I know with the time change for me last week, I totally kind of forgot. And then suddenly it was kind of dark and I had to film in like not as bright light as I normally do because I have windows right across from me. But hopefully you can see me better today. The light's starting to go down, but it's not even 3 o'clock yet. So I don't know how that's possible. But here we are, and I'm so happy to be here. I have a few whips. I have one new cast on, one thing I've picked back up, and one small finished object. So it's an exciting week, I'd say. As always, it's always an exciting week with knitting. But
Hello, this is Editing Emma, here to let you know, because I forgot to mention it in the video, that I'm wearing the Urus Slipover by Agio Knits, and it's knit in the Noro Hanui. I'm not sure exactly how to say it, but yeah, that's what I'm wearing. Back to it.
let's get into it. I'll start with a finished object that's not blocked. Hopefully, I can take a video of it when it is blocked afterwards to add into this. But it's just the Weekend Hat by Petite Knit. It's a DK weight pattern. I knit mine on 3.5 millimeter needles. It's in Jody Long Chow, which is a superwash wool in the color Midnight. So just this nice navy. I haven't woven in my ends yet, and I played a really good game of yarn chicken with this one. I didn't make it as long as it called for. This is like all I have left. Exactly, perfectly. I just guessed and it was perfect. Um, what was I going to say? Losing it. I'm losing my mind. I'm losing my mind. Oh, so I didn't make it as long as the pattern called for, but I don't really like super long hats. And this still feels really long for me, honestly. This brim is like really big, it seems like. Where if it's not even quite at the there's a double knitting point that's supposed to be the fold point. I feel like it makes it so wide, but I guess I have a habit of making my hats too small actually, like not long enough because I don't like long hats. So this is fine. It'll look fine. I'll take a picture of it finished and blocked or a video so that you can see it done. But it was a pretty easy, quick knit. I did a long tail cast on for the edge because I didn't really realize I thought it would maybe be like flipped in somehow and so you wouldn't see it, but it's not. So, oh well. You can't really tell. Hopefully you can see the color in this light. It's kind of hard because it's such a dark blue. It does fit my husband's head. Hopefully when it's blocked, because this is a really like springy superwash, it might be easier to fit on his head if he wants to wear this instead, because obviously navy blue is a little more good for him because I don't know why I said obviously. He's not going to wear a pink hat. Like if I knit with the extra of the pink that I have, then he's not going to wear that. So that's that petite knit weekend hat. I knit the adult medium of that, which was pretty appropriate for me, I'd say. Next, I will go on to my whips first of all. But I'll start with the one that I picked back up that I hadn't worked on in a while. And to preface that, I have my copy of Memory Lane. Yay! I got it yesterday finally. It took a while to come, but I'm so happy to have it. This is Claudia Quintanilla's book, Embellished Knits to Cherish. And it's a gorgeous book. I know you probably can't see anything with amazing designs. I'm sure you've seen it on Instagram if you're on Instagram. And the piece that I had finished all the knitting for a while ago but hadn't started the embellishing yet is the Maria. Um, so it's got this really nice color work. Everyone loves the wings one. I know it's the last one. Here, so I'll find the picture, which is like mohair and lacy with beads. Hopefully you can see that. But I'm like, I know I don't really wear that kind of thing that's really see-through and floaty. Like I just get annoyed and I need it to serve a purpose. So I wanted something that was more normal sweater and I liked this guy and I had yarn in stash. This was knit on I'll have to check what size needles, but it's knit with all unraveled sweater yarns that I thrifted. Yeah. And so what I have started is the beading. If you can't see this, I'll add a little picture that's easier to see. I'm not doing a perfect job, but you know, it looks good still. I'll probably have to block at least like the edges. Like I might not get the whole sweater yet just to make them sit nicer. Um, I think I'm gonna do the sleeve cuffs. So I finished this one sleeve cuff. This is the only one that I've done. And then I think I'm just gonna bead the front of the motif because it goes to the back too. But I don't think that that's like the best idea. I don't really want to be lying on it, like leaning back on it and messing it up. And I also just don't think it's like necessary for me. So in addition to that, the inside of my knitting looks kind of crazy because when I knit with this purple yarn, it was an unraveled yarn that was still really like kinky. So the problem, because it was so thin and because it was like not, um, I hadn't steamed it out straight or anything, it when I blocked out my knit, there was a lot of looseness in my color work because I'm kind of a loose color work knitter. So I ended up doing some like crochet ladders in it, and all the strings are like it tied just because I wanted to make sure that it stayed nice and even. And my fear was mostly that my floats were showing up in these blocks of brown because it's a dark color. And I think they're less visible than they were previously with those done. So I'll do the beading on probably the front, not the back, and the other sleeve because the other sleeve just looks like that. I think that'll be really nice. So that is some cool progress. I kind of thought that the beading was going to be a total nightmare, and it's definitely not my thing. Like I have 100% stabbed my finger like 500 times trying to do it, but it looks okay. Um, like it looks good. I don't know why I'm saying it looks okay, but it isn't. It's not taking me quite as long as I thought it would. It definitely took me a little while to do all this, but I thought it was gonna be really annoying and fiddly. But I put all my beads in a little bowl so I can just grab them and they're not all over the place, and it's been going well. So big win. Highly recommend Memory Lane. Very beautiful book. Very beautiful knits inside of it. There's some really awesome ones. I'm sure you'll see plenty more people with these knits on their needles. I love this one. Isn't that one so pretty? Azul, the color work. Um, but yeah, that is the first whip. So I'm glad to have progress on that. My second whip, I'll do the one that I had on my needles last time. And this one is the Brady Loop sweater by Other Loops. This is knit also in Jody Long Chow in the superwash wool. It's a DK weight. This is the color Pale, this nice cool toned pink, which I'm obsessed with. It's knit on 4mm needles. I don't have the body on needles right now, or I've just been working on this first sleeve. So I am split for sleeves. I did the collar. I think the collar looks really nice because there's this purl row before the ribbing. Um, we've got that nice saddle yoke with the braid down the back. I think this is going to be really nice. I'm a little worried about playing yarn chicken. Like I thought I'd be totally fine, but I'm on my second ball for the sleeve, and this is what I have left, and they're just 50-gram skeins. It's okay, like I'm getting close to the end, but I'm still getting a little nervous. For the beginning of the sleeve, you decrease down the like inside the bottom, and then you move to decreasing on either side of these cables. If you can see that there, it's kind of hard to show you because it's curling. So yeah, I was a little worried looking at the directions, like maybe my gauge is correct, but according to the measurements, my sleeve is maybe too long already. But I tried it on and I felt like it was okay. So I'm just going to keep going and finish this first one. And then if the first one is way too long, then I'll undo it and redo it. But I'm not going to commit to it being too long. If I'm it may be a pattern error. I kind of think it is based on like how I was reading it. I don't think it's my fault. Right? Well, I don't think what I have is necessarily wrong, which is why I'm going to keep going. Yeah, I think this is going to be a really pretty sweater when it's done. Hopefully I have enough. I'm glad I'm doing the sleeves first because I'm a little nervous about how long I'll be able to make the body. And hopefully I can just shorten it if I don't think I'm going to have enough yarn. The one thing about this yarn is I don't think I had this problem in the midnight color that I knit my Maggie vest and then the weekend hat in, but I've had like a handful of balls with splits, not splits, but like joins in them where they got tied together for like a new section of yarn, which isn't a huge deal, but it is super wash, so I can't just felt them together. And these are only 50-gram skeins. So like if I just attached a new skein and then I'm having to like undo a knot and like make it look nice as I'm knitting, like not that far along, like maybe a third of the way through, that is not my favorite. Um, so there's that to look out. But I do really like the yarn. It is such a beautiful, bouncy yarn. I wouldn't say it's soft, but it's not like rustic by any means. It just feels very smooth. Um, I don't know if you probably can't tell, but it's a whole bunch of plies. Like it's like 20 yarn plies all together. So there is no like weird bits sticking out of it. It's very smooth and perfect. Um, the as I expected, the wider rib has been much easier for me to knit than I'm not a big fan of like 2x2 rib because I feel like I always get my stitches never look right. They always look a little weird, but this is practically like knitting stockinette. It's 8x2 rib. So there's been no issues with that. I do feel like this is going to be kind of heavy, but I also feel like I felt the same thing with my Maggie vest and it was fine. It'll block out really nice. I know that. It'll definitely be wide. Um, yeah. So this is going pretty well, other than the possible concerns about the sleeves. I mean, I think I'm most of the way done. Um, so hopefully then I can try it on and be sure about if I'm safe or not. Did I have anything else? I'm knitting the second size in that one. I said it was other loops, the Brady loop sweater. I think that's it. So we'll move on to my last work in progress. And this one I'm really, really excited about. So I had this skein of Noro Ito. It's in the color 1, but if I look up the color 1 on Ravelry, it's a totally different color, and I can't figure out which one this is. So I don't really know. But it's this beautiful pink, green, and yellow. Like this just screams springtime to me. I love this combination of colors. You may have heard me say I'm not really a yellow person, but I feel like this skein is pretty pink dominant, and the yellow is just an accent, which is totally fine with me. And I cast on the November neck. Looks so good. I posted on my story. I want to take a picture of this, how this is knitting up, basically like every single row. It's so beautiful. Um, this is my first ever time knitting brioche, and it's going really well. I mean, I'm obviously a pretty intermediate advanced knitter, so it's not a huge leap for me. I also haven't gotten to the increases yet, but because I know how to knit pretty well already, it's not too difficult to do this. I'm so obsessed with how it's going. I just finished the third buttonhole. Stick my finger through so you can see it because you can't really see it otherwise. This yarn is working up really well. It's an Aran weight pattern. This is my 3.5 millimeter needles. The yarn was the perfect gauge. I was a little worried it was too thick, but in my head, I remembered this skein being chunkier than it was. So I was totally fine. I'm a little worried about not having enough. I know that brioche eats up yarn, and this is a little bit less than the amount of yarn that Petite Knit recommends, I believe, based on my estimation. So if I run out, I think I may use the leftover that I have for this because I have a lot to finish this, because this is also a Noro in a similar gauge. If I don't think that's going to look good, I'm like, if I get to that point, then I'll look at my stash and figure it out. But that is my like probable plan at the moment. But yeah, this has been going well. It's been working up really quick. I can knit the brioche without looking, which is really nice for reading. So I finished a nice big book this week, which was good to keep myself on my Goodreads goal for the year. So yeah, that is my last work in progress. I have one acquisition, and then I'll do something I haven't done in a couple weeks, which is talk about what I've been reading. So yeah, one acquisition. I thrifted a couple skeins the other day, some pretty good ones. Just this Lana Grossa Royal Tweed in, I think, color 21. It's like this red. It's this tweedy red. It's 100% merino, which is really nice. I have 5 skeins of this. One of them might be a partial, but it looks like it's almost a full skein. So I can definitely get something out of this. I'm not sure what. Maybe a vest, maybe a small vest, maybe something color work. I don't know. But it's a cool color. It's a very soft yarn. Maybe not soft. I feel like soft is so. What does soft even mean? My how I feel about fibers touching my skin has changed drastically since I started knitting and learning about things. Like even touching a wool like this against my neck, I probably would have been like, ugh. But now it doesn't. I don't mind it. Just my mindset about it changed. Something super rustic, obviously, is still gonna bother me. And I don't pretty much ever wear things against the skin directly, other than my summer knits, because I need an extra layer for warmth anyways if I'm wearing a sweater that big. Like if I'm wearing this, obviously this doesn't make any sense. But if I'm wearing something like this but with sleeves, I still need like a little bit of a windbreak so the air just doesn't go flying straight through. So I usually still wear like a regular cotton shirt underneath. I don't know how I got here. Oh, I was talking about how soft this is. So like this isn't soft, but it's not scratchy. Like I could wear a scarf with this wrapped around my face and it would be fine. I don't know. We'll see. Um, I've been thinking a lot about my plans. I said next week I was going to cast on the Pohiola next, but that's because I was thinking about I forgot about the November neck in that moment. I actually shockingly did this whole podcast without notes, which is pretty amazing. And I didn't make any progress on the sweater for my brother, the colorwork sweater, because I was just doing other things. Wasn't my focus. I needed a little like psychological break, and those needles are on my November neck, but they'll probably go back on this week, and I'll take some time on that. I just wanted to get it started. So, what else? Do I have any other progress updates? I spun a little bit more on my spindle, but that's not that exciting, so I'll probably show you that like maybe when I get a little bit further along in my braid when I have a lot. But it's been going pretty well, which is nice. Um, yeah, I will tell you what I've been reading lately really quick. If you're not interested in that, I thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'd love if you would give me a like and subscribe and let me know what you're working on. That is all. If you do want to know what I'm reading, I just finished The Words of Radiance by Brandon Sanderson, a big honkin' book, like 1,000 pages, and it was good. I give it like a 4 out of 5. I have obviously read the first book, The Way of Kings, and everyone talks about it like it's the most amazing book ever. It is. It's fantastic. He's an amazing writer. It's like the world building is amazing, but I feel like I don't like the series so far as much as a lot of his other books. I like the Mistborn ones a lot. I really liked Elantris. I've read a bunch of the more standalone books like Tress of the Emerald Sea. It's this epic story of it's high fantasy. There's like a war being fought. There's a number of different perspectives. It's people finding out they have powers and climbing through like politics and social status and all of that. And it's very interesting. It's so well done. But I think for me, there isn't quite enough action because it's so long. I can get through it and I can get through it pretty quickly, but I haven't felt myself as excited throughout it as I have with some of his other books, I guess is what I'm thinking. Um, I think because his style of writing is usually like he has this epic story, and then at the end, like in the last 2 or 3 chapters of 1,000 page book, like something crazy and epic happens. And when that's in a 500 or 600 page book, you don't have to get through as much to get to the everything is coming together. But in a 1,000 page book, you're reading like 900 pages before everything's suddenly tying up and you're finding out what's happening. So I guess it's harder to keep that anticipation for me going for the end of the book for that long. And I love a long book. It's been different for me. I think I need to space out when I start the next one. I'm not sure if I'm quite ready for it. I don't think I can get into it right away. It's also been disrupting my reading goal because I'm trying to read this massive novel while also keeping up with my reading goal for the year, which was 125 books. But since I started my new job, I dropped it to 120 because 125 was a reach when I was unemployed. And then it just feels crazy once I have a job. So we'll see. I'm on track right now. I think I'm at 104. But let me know what you've been reading, what you've been knitting. I'd love to hear about it. I'd love to hear what people are reading. I read a whole range of things: nonfiction, historical fiction, fantasy, sci fi, whatever, contemporary. So that is all for today. I hope you enjoyed. Once again, I'd really appreciate it if you give me a like and subscribe. It means the world to me. And I hope you have a great day and happy knitting.